Okay. Hello, everyone. I wonder why I'm not using Restream or StreamYard. Basically, it's because this old computer has trouble handling that stuff. And people there, well, it's like I don't want to go into detail. I've got so much stuff on this computer. Even if I'll show you. My son said it'll be easy. Even if we everything that's on this computer with this onto a new computer, there could be problems. I remember when we did stuff and things. I'll tell you, the reason my name basically now look at like okay tonight I'm not going to go into deal sad. Look, I'll give you an example. Okay, it's just like okay, you could I hope you're doing good. Okay, you can hear a story from someone, and somebody else is going to get a different opinion of what that story nine people. And then by the time it gets to the 10th person, everything's just completely. This is the what if snow melted. We had about 2.5 inches last night. We had about zero point 0.2 inches tonight. I hope you're doing okay, Camo. Okay, one thing I used to hang out. I always hijack Carol dogs. I one of my friends. He was 2 years older than me. A couple days a week, we would go to his house and lift weights. I've talked about him before. Tajov. He's still to this day the collegiate bench press and clean and jerk record. I think he lives in Tennessee. He got involved with Joe Weider and knows all the people, all that stuff. He's a I haven't talked to him since I got out of high school. I know he occasionally watches my channel. How you doing, Victor? Okay, I had a friend in high school that got into exercising with me like a few days a week. And then he got into some talking about just weed. He started getting into some really hard stuff. And unfortunately, I once he came to our house when my wife and I got married, and we basically had to kick him out of it. A couple of years ago. Looking up, occasionally I look up people in the go that he passed away, and I think 62 at the time. I think methamphetamines worse than that. And Carl, the fact that we live next to the park, who knows? Hey, this internet is so wacky. And I didn't really want to bring it up, and since you're here, Carl, your post tonight, and I felt kind of sad. They have people that watch these channels now. There's claim to have been in the professional sports. Then you kind of find out they weren't telling the truth. I'll tell you, I'm probably one of the most transparent people on YouTube. I go by my real stuff, my tree farm, and stuff with audio. I've already had people come out and say to me, "Oh, did you buy all that stuff to impress people?" And I have a real love for music. Um, I've told people the story before. There's audio forums out there where I know as much on audio equipment as we could buy a cheap townhouse for in certain parts of the country. Um, it's like I said, I've been saying this for you to impress people. I am what you see here is the way I am in real life. Um, my wife and I, back in 2002, look at like this. People talk about creating a homestead. We created a homestead. You know, we acquired the property in 2002. We had a problem with somebody that wanted it. They tried to get settlement reversed. And I'll tell you, the way people brag, we had problems with someone with ended up losing these through court ordered IRS sheriff sales. It's like I'm probably the one of the real homesteaders. I don't completely live off the land, but I look at it like this. You know, my wife and I, what we do. You know, my wife being a nurse. You know, when when we lived in the townhouse we bought right before we got married, I remember us scrambling through coins, just trying to find enough money to pay for it. And we'll see here. Because I can't put stuff, it's just easier on this. This computer will be 11 years old in October. I don't know if everybody knows the whole story. If I go on StreamYard, Carl, um, I could lose the stream. And Carl, you shouldn't speak. Look at the times you were doing lives with your cell phone, and we could barely understand you. But I know you got a new cell phone. I do like you, Carl. I've been doing this my whole life. I've told everybody this story. Back in the I guess it's like the stuff I say, but I know from family members. I come from a really, my grandfather was the head of economics at Ursinus College. He put himself through college professor. Actually, he was teaching at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia after he got his PhD. He went to Georgetown. He didn't like living in Philadelphia. Somehow he met my grandmother. They fell in love and got married. My grandmother was college and became Mary Eva. She actually had a bachelor's degree. She was born in 1900. She put herself, well, her father was a butcher and they had enough wealth. She came from Patton, Pennsylvania, and she went to college and she got a degree and became my grandfather. And he decided he lived in Collegeville. It's called Collegeville because he couldn't stand the traffic. You know, not just, it wasn't horse. Well, in 1932, he bought a 66-acre farm in Skippack Township for the same price he could buy a house in Collegeville. Hobby. A lot of the ground was steep hill ravines. He just started planting white pines. He never did. He did already being pines and Scotch pines, and went through there with a self-propelled mower. He actually plowed and dusted the ground. Actually, they bought the ground from a priest, believe it or not, that had to sell it because he had to give up his Catholic church. Well, he started growing trees as a hobby. My dad was a child prodigy. He was teaching college at Phil, teaching calculus and physics. My dad, he didn't serve in the military. He had Crohn's disease. The military decided to put him down to Franklin Institute where he just did math calculations. He decided he did tree so much, he bought one of these Howard rotovators, which was the only walk-behind tiller made at the time, late 1940s, because my dad was born in 1924, just like I have. My father started, and he advertised in a newspaper called the Collegeville Independent, actually, and probably the Times Herald. My father actually, people knew development houses if they wanted to buy his trees. You figure back then, a landscaper was somebody that dug up trees and planted them in somebody's yard. Not nowadays, a landscaper is somebody that mows somebody's yard. Then in the late 1960s, the state took the property for eminent domain. There were a lot of college teachers at Ursinus College in the 1930s. The law was already passed into action. I remember Governor Schaub, my grandparents, they went with my sisters and I go there, governor at the time, for dinner. He did his best to try to stop the park, but it was too late. So basically, the state took most of the park. And my dad, he wanted to continue his business. So my father saved up enough money to buy some ground and start a nursery. And my father, when I was a little kid, my father brought in pre-cut trees and a lot of ball trees. And my sisters, one of my sisters and I took the business, and we basically saved up enough to start a tree farm. Because what we're doing now, especially my sister, is actually my competitor, Corkum Tree. But the thing I found, and the thing is, I really like this kind of work. I like going outdoors, except for this freaking weather we've had this year. I'm telling you, this is one of the most hottest. Looks like in the end of the week, it's going to cool off. Because I remember used to go hiking up the Appalachian Mountains, the Pinnacle, would go to Hawk Mountain, or you thermal sweatshirt late in the evening, or you'd be cold. But one thing, it's like I get along better with older people than younger people. As I would be, I should have been a school teacher because I'm really telling people what to do. It's like when it comes to giving people advice, if I see someone younger than me talking about the future, I try to, tell them what I did, or the funds to put money in, because everybody wants their money to grow. But I look at it like this: in life, a person's probably only as yourself with. Is anybody else seeing the video pause like Coral? Like that, there's just something going on. I mean, there's times already where, and I'm watching somebody's video and it just keeps buffering where it doesn't want to load right. I mean, who knows? Verizon guy was out here and said everything's okay. It's like my wife, 11 years. We had a compact computer. We got an O3, Then I think we had, again, we got this back in 2015. Yeah, but the thing is to get, I've had people on YouTube, everything. I'm a Philadelphia liberal. Yeah, I live 25 miles from Philadelphia, and I'm no liberal at all. With the title of the stream, because I try to keep up on what's going on at the Game Commission, because any day we're going to, I was shocked to find this out. The Game Commission lost a lawsuit. We're now in Pennsylvania, for them to go on somebody's ground, started, they need a search warrant, probable causes. Comes to Game and Wildlife Matters, okay, game is perishable. The thing I found out, well, I'll tell you, there's a big station now. The guy took over 2 years ago, and he was appointed Liberal Governor Josh Shapiro. Well, now the Game Commission has decided they're not gonna have any deputies in the state anymore. And the bad thing about that, they Donnie R. Okay, they're eliminating a number of years ago. Second game worked for 12 years. One time I saw him and I said, Ray, are you wearing a bulletproof vest? And he said, yeah. I said, what's going on? He said, well, one of my clear. And ever since then, he's game vest. And I know from one of the game wardens that came out to pick up a deer a few years ago, he retired. He did Montgomery Jerry Check. He was telling me, they've made a policy where if they're going to certain areas, that they have a deputy with them if they're available. Well, tell you what the wait times are, and the game wardens, they carry AR-15s. I was reading a post, it's anonymous, by a game warden in Pennsylvania. He foresees that this could make it dangerous. I think this is a part 123 years. As you figure, most of the time dealing with a person, they're dealing with somebody that police pulls out when a police comes to somebody's home or pulls somebody over. But if it involves somebody that's hunting, they're dealing with somebody that more than likely has, or a crossbow. And doing stuff on my own it's hard to find. It's like once when I did a live stream, the computer for like over an hour. Some people might remember that. But just like I was saying about YouTube channels, a lot of people be a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm. Some people might think I'm a little too apprehensive. Everybody says about is farming and growing Christmas. I understand electronics pretty well. I was trying to explain them. I'll tell you another story. Okay, because I mentioned it in chat. I think Carl might remember. Most of the people that came to this country were my mother's father. He was a missionary. Told me a few years ago that our grandfather that I never met because he died before I was born, he was a Mason. And the thing is, there's different degrees of these Masons. I know that my ancestors that came here in the 1600s were Masons. With the Masons, I don't know. But I remember hearing a story from my sister about it. One reason why people became, people that were born in the late 1800s, it was a lodge. Bullshit. And here, I had a friend stop here the other day, and I told him, well, he just came from a bar and was a little concerned that he got back home okay. He was asking me if my wife and I go to bars. I said, we haven't gone to bars just for, before we would go out just so we had, some place to go and something to do and have a few beers. The stop and go is maddening. Maybe you have to, let me just look and see it right, Carl. I'm going to see if I can close the one window. I'll tell you, there's times on this, I might be losing the stream now. Yep. It looks like it froze up. Yeah, I got a message that my name is unstable. I'll tell you, who knows? Well, thank you very much, Joe Garrel Dodds. I love everyone that watches my channel. I think Liz in the other window helped. Like sometimes when you make a comment on somebody's chat, you'll have the same people that are just all over you. And I don't know anyone, no one's asked me to ever be a Mason. I remember my wife's brother died a year ago this past January. He mentioned that he became a Mason after he got out of law school. And we asked him, "What do you do there?" And he's laughing, saying, "We can't tell you; it's all secret." And he was a liberal, but I don't think they were involved with anything bad. It's just like the Knights Templar. But the thing is, I remember seeing a video a few years ago where people were saying bad stuff about the Knights of Columbus. My dad, I was raised a Catholic, even though I consider myself non-denominational. My dad joined the Knights of Columbus and became a fourth degree Knights of Columbus. And you know what he looked forward to when they had their meetings, like every once a month when I was younger. He would go up there, and it was just like people belonging to the fire company. He would go up there and bullshit, shoot the breeze with the other guys and have a few beers. Some people, they take this stuff far too seriously, really. Yeah, I believe that most conspiracy theories are true, but it's like some people got to take everything at basically a grain of salt. Many people just go off the deep end, over a sudden. It would be like if a certain color shirt signified that you believed in this. Well, if somebody had let's say somebody had a shirt that was like a certain shade. Well, you wouldn't know what they really stood for. Well, I feel bad that the stream's kind of unstable. I just hope you look at like this. People are worried in this country. I think the time that we're going to have to worry is after the midterm elections. Look at like this. I'm not for this communism at all. There are so many. It amazes me. A lot of these people for the communism, they are a lot of white, educated people that have really big incomes. And the thing is, if they're doing good financially, why are they for communism? I think the whole problem is you got a lot of people out there. I have family members that are like a little older than my son. The thing is, these people I think are just spending beyond their means. Okay, that's how it is, Carl. I'm not the only one in the neighborhood. We have an elderly neighbor, and I know she's had problems with the computer. When my son comes here, his cell phone service gets kind of wacky. Um, my son was my son's thinking I don't play guitars, but my son still plays guitars. Um, yeah, I don't know how many people here have kids, but my wife and my wife hears from my son several times a day. When it comes to some, I'll tell you, our son came here to visit Saturday, and his girlfriend couldn't come with him because her best friend needed her help to pick out a wedding dress. Really nice young woman. My son is let's see, he was born in 1991. He's 35. One of these days, we think he's going to get married. Hey, Craig, what's going on? Craig, I was telling people Pennsylvania is going to end their deputy game warden program. I think it really sucks. And I was telling everyone, Craig, I'm not using StreamYard or Restream because there's too many problems with computer freezing. So look what happens tonight. The computer had a freeze. Carl says it's better now. And I think the shit's going to hit the fan after the midterms. Because everybody here is looking at the same stuff I've been looking at. How you doing down there in Louisiana, Craig? I know it's humid down there. Tell you one thing, I haven't been to the southern states. I've been in New England and as far south as Virginia Beach and as far west as Ohio. I've never been to the East Coast. I know what it's like in the South because my son has been to every state in the Union a gazillion times except for Hawaii. He may have gone there. I'm not even sure. mean, that's how it is here living next to the state park with this internet connection. It's like we've already had people that it's been a while. We've already had people pull in our driveway and park at the end of it. And I've been at work and asking what they're doing. They're saying, well, our cell phone service is so bad. If we park the car, it'll come in. The nearest, we don't have any cell phone towers really close by, having the park next to us, which is kind of a blessing. Um, I think I told everyone before, some people probably don't believe it. I've been involved. There are people in this area that are having a fit with what's going on with Evansburg State Park. And I've been working with my state senator, Tracy Pennicook, because my game warden wants people to hunt here. And nobody will go hunting in the park because it's basically just high weeds everywhere. And I mowed it in April, and that's all come back. And with the drought we've had, I mean, we're still technically in a drought, but having a little over 2 inches of rain yesterday and about a quarter to 2/10 of an inch today has made a big difference. Was Craig shot? I hope Craig wasn't shot. I hope it's a rumor because I know Craig is really busy doing stuff with his church. And that's probably one reason why you figure everybody's got lives outside of YouTube. Some people, they aren't doing as much streaming. You figure some people, some people just get sick of YouTube, really. Now, Craig, have you been shot? Because there was a story of Jeff being shot. Well, if Craig was shot, I hope he makes a full recovery. And me just talking about this on YouTube could start a rumor. And I don't have any idea how many people are watching because I closed the one window. And speaking of closed windows, we had one night this week I was able to open these windows. Actually, you know what I found out? We have a glass sliding door in the kitchen, which is right behind the monitor. When it cools off in here, just opening that door makes a hell of a difference. I think I remember Donnie from before. I'll tell you, it's usually I've gone to other people's channels that I thought people I know would look at, and you just don't see these people there. It's like everybody, you know what? All of us are getting old, and we're set in our ways. And you know what I haven't seen in a long time? Frog. Whatever happened to Frog? He was doing videos showing rocks he got out of the river or creek near where he was, and he thought some of them were arrowheads. I'll tell you, that part of the country, I'll tell you, listen to the Ranger Belt. You want to know one thing the Americans did and the Old West did that was good for the Indians? Okay, you watch cowboy and Indian movies, you see Indians riding horses. Well, do you know the horses were extinct in North America after the last ice age? The horses the Spaniards had, got loose and reverted back into being for horses in the 1600s. I think it was. We figure they came here, in 1492. Christopher Columbus discovered America, but Christopher Columbus wasn't Spaniard; he was an Italian. We all know the Spanish Navy was the most powerful navy in the world. Well, the Native American Indians, excuse me, they caught some of the wild horses. It's hard to believe. People used to, I'll tell you, I'm glad it happened, even though we have too many laws. Back in 1971, our Congress and the president signed a bill into law to protect the Mustangs. The wild horses in the United States are called Mustangs. People would kill those horses just for their meat. And the thing is, I'm glad that they put a stop to that. You figure horses are like dogs. They are very smart. I mean, horses get attached to people, and people get attached to horses. I've never had a horse. I think I rode a horse or a pony when I was a little kid. and that's going back pretty far. But I'm glad that horses are protected. You figure, you look at parts of the world. There's a guy I gave deer to, but he can't get him butchered now. Quang Bu. He works at Palmer International with a friend of mine, and he came here when he was a little kid from Vietnam. He told me over in Vietnam, if somebody saw a dog like what I have running around wild, you know what they would do? They would kill the dog and eat it. That's how bad off the rest of the world is. Okay, even the people in this country that are bitching, complaining, that are on every government subsidy, man, they are better off than people living in third world countries. Because my son knew about the earthquake in Indonesia. He told me this several years ago when he was over there with the band. Anybody can look up their tour schedule. The Devil Wears Prada. He's going to be away 3 months with the guys. He said over in Indonesia, he got people living in huts. Then he got people living in these homes that are like some of our neighbors' homes around here. It just amazes me. Lurkers have the middle issue. Okay, one thing I don't like about the YouTube chat is on here it's in black. That's messing up my vision. And a few years ago, I got a bigger monitor. I'm not bragging. It's just a 27-inch monitor diagonally. Actually, you know what I've been doing late in some evenings? Okay, one guy probably wonders why I'm not watching the show. It's called Ace. It used to be Ace Economics. I'll watch somebody's YouTube channel on the TV after I get a shower, the replay of it. Well, I'm glad you're sticking around, Camo. Hey, you're a nice guy, and I want you to be happy. You know, I try to make general statements. Like I said before, when somebody sees me here, I am the way I am. I mean, my wife thinks I have a hyper personality. My son thinks I'm calm, cool, and collective. My son is taller than me. We're both perfectionists. Then you could say somebody that's a perfectionist, okay, that could be a problem. That's why I got into audio as a hobby. Just like when I'm planting little trees out in the field, okay, I take the plant line out there and I take a stick. I have to have everything evenly spaced. Hey, Teresa, what's up? Hey, Craig, if you'd want to do a show with me sometime, I'd be game. But the thing is, we'd have to, we can't do it all the time. Very soon, these deer are going to start rubbing the rattlers on trees. And because I have a new game warden, Pete Lusick, I got to figure out what the hell's going on with the game commission. Because I don't think that every game warden I know is very conservative. But the guy that's running that, eliminating the deputies, that's jeopardizing men's lives, if you ask me. Actually, if you want to do one sometime soon, I'd be game, Craig. Like I said, when I was doing somebody else's channel, I missed the opportunity in the winter to get more deer. I hate to let people down. It's like, I'll tell you guys one thing: is if I become somebody's friend, I'm very trustworthy. I don't like the shit that goes on in my wife's office, and she's telling me, not. I've already said to her, I feel like contacting the company you work for, and she doesn't want me to do that. The thing I can't stand is when people disrespect other people. Look at it like this. Okay, I'll give you an example. You got pharmaceutical companies around here galore. The doctors that have PhDs, okay, the janitor that works there is just as important as that doctor. Well, it's not even janitor, maintenance. Somebody that fixes the equipment when it breaks down is just as important as the guy that runs the equipment. I'm a firm believer. Everybody has their gifts in life. I know that there's a lot of people out there that think I'm arrogant and conceited. I talk about money because to me it's a challenge. Just like I got into lifting weights when I was a teenager, when I was like 12 years old, 13. So I had enough strength. Carl knows to turn around one of those hair motivators. And then, everybody likes to make money. So I told people years ago on one-on-one show, I've been doing this a long time. Um, I mean, it gets to the point with me, it's not the amount of money that matters anymore. It's the challenge of making it. And if I find something, I'll tell you, my son and I, the older he gets, we talk a lot about investing in stocks. I've told people before, he puts about $25 a week in the stock market. If a person, I've said to people, one mistake people made, my wife's brother died basically broke, and he was an attorney that passed the bar in 3 states. One thing people have to do, it's not going to matter as much with people our age our age group watching the show, is plan for the future. Put money in a retirement plan. Well, Teresa D. Matha, I've had people, I'm not going to say who they are, I've had people that are just an absolute mess with me. Um, and the person that channel this happened to, I'm afraid to ever go in their channel again. And I like the person. Now, some people think all people that lift weights are narcissistic. Now, I think it's good to be in. I think it's important for everybody to be in good physical shape. And my shoulder right here is still a little swollen. Um, I've talked about this before. I've been using actually Craig gave me the idea a few years ago. I got one of those red light mats, Craig. I'll tell you the story. I had to do a separate video someday. I bought one on Amazon. Within 10 days, the thing doesn't work right. There was a short in the wiring. I'll tell you, in some ways, Walmart's better. I bought a smaller one from Walmart. And you know why I bought it from Walmart? Okay, it had a different kind of connection that goes in there. The one I bought from Walmart, I had the option of getting a 2-year extended warranty for $4. So I thought if this thing breaks in the next 2 years, I use it every night. That red light has helped my shoulder. I've told people before, I know people that have had shoulder surgery. It's either hit or miss. It depends on how bad it is. My dentist is the man that's he's a good personal friend. He cited the red dot scope of my shotgun. He had a partial tear of his rotator cuff from being in one of these martial arts tournaments, and he's 10 years younger than me. And the doctor he went to said, you have a partial tear, but I'm afraid if I do surgery on it, I can make things worse. And I mentioned this before. They're saying that somewhere down the road, all their surgery is going to be done with robots. And you know, from what I've read, there's a doctor on YouTube, Dr. Eric Berg. Hey, Holly came down. She's in the kitchen. He, I'm not sure if he mentioned red light therapy. One thing he mentioned to do is take manganese supplements, and you don't want to take too much of that. Not to be confused with magnesium. I've been taking one of the manganese pills every day, not every day, every other day, and I'm breaking it in like 3 increments. Because if you get, I don't want to. It's like this. None of us know for sure some type of supplement we're getting what's really in it. And I know with the Medicare Part D plan, which was free now, but I'll probably have to pay for it next year. I could get some vitamins. They have an allowance for free, but I'm afraid to use this stuff because I don't want to have to pay the Medicare um, minimal deductible. Now, I think Carl's talking about is that a code for massage? No, the red light, it's supposed to go deeper. And I told everybody before, there was a physical therapist in my wife's office, not a young woman. I guess I shouldn't say that because she's in her 50s. I mean, well, you know what? We're all getting old. None of us are young. And she said red light therapy was one of the best things. And I had a doctor tell me, a psychiatrist, I told you guys before, he said red light therapy is the next best thing to stem cell implants. Because I know of people that had stem cell implants in their back and it didn't make any difference at all. You know what, Carl? Does life have a happy ending? You figure all of us, I tell you, all of us got to do our best. I get thirsty in here talking. I look at it like this. I know you use the nunchucks, Carl. You figure all of us got to do it. The best way to combat aging, we can't reverse it. We can't stop it, is to exercise. Like I come inside the house some days working, and my shirt is just completely soaked. I've torn shirts just trying to take them off, and I wear a double extra large. And actually, the shirt I'm wearing, you can see how that's torn? I sewed that myself. Go and buy some of these bigger trees. Hey, Beach Charming, you're late to the party. Go and buy some of these bigger trees, tears my clothing. It's like I got to hold that gear lever in place to get by some of these bigger trees, or it'll push it out of gear. Because that's just the way these Kubotas are. And I hate putting it in second gear because then I got to, more wear and tear on the clutch. I'll tell you, Carl, I hope you never have to use those for self-defense. The way this world has gotten to be, yeah, I go from random topic to random topic. Yeah, I don't want Sharia law. I know people that are for this, and you tell them what it stands for. Oh, that's not what it means. I mean, it's the point in this country. You could have something in writing. I learned so much from Rush Limbaugh. You can't reason with a liberal. You can't. They'll tell you your facts are wrong. I know liberal people. I say something to them. They got to get on fact check or Snopes. Or yes, I think it's Snopes. I'll tell you. I know people say if you had to take somebody's life in self-defense, you would never be the same. I hope I never have to. But who knows what's going to happen in this country after the midterms. I tell you, I feel bad killing deer and killing groundhogs. We got a problem with the groundhog living under the front steps because we have steps to go in the front of the house. And I know in the South, some people domesticate them, but you can't have a groundhog doing foundation damage to a house. Yeah, I'm reading the comments in chat. Okay, it's 11:34. I didn't realize it was that late. This is actually, I think I've set a record for how late I've been on here. Um, I tell you, it's like to get back to one thing, Craig. I'm not the type of person that wants to be a regular in anybody's channel all the time. You understand why? Um, if somebody wants to be an occasional guest, or like just every few weeks or every month, do something. But it's like I've got so much stuff to do. There's things I had to do in the house. Um, One of these days, I need to clean the crawl space out, which is under this part of the house, because we have effervescent in the concrete slab. Back when we built the house, nobody put vapor barriers in. I need to take everything out of the crawl space and buy a 5 gallon container of this sealer. It's not like a dry lock. We had a problem with water came in right at ground level, like 15 years ago from the groundhog. I poured, I'm going to have to get some more cement, well, actually concrete mix to mess up the groundhog. Yeah, I read your community post, Carl. It's like when people make comments on things, I've made comments. If I make comments about on somebody's channel, there's too many Chiefs and no Indians. I don't know. Like I said earlier, you could say something and people have a different opinion of what you said when it came to anything. I can't find anything online, Craig. Hey, listen, it's 11:36 now. I should probably get a shower. Okay, I don't know who all is lurking and not commenting. That's okay. It's like I just want everybody in YouTube to get along. The best thing to do, you know, just be people just have to be themselves. Um, it's not a competition of who's the strongest, who has the biggest house, who's the wealthiest. Because you know what? God doesn't care. God cares about what kind of person we are and where our heart is. That's what it comes down to. It's like the you look at it like this. What's the New Testament? Basically, all the stories. It's analogies, really, of the way we should live our lives. I know, Carl, and that's why communism won't work. These liberals think everything has to be done by a committee. A couple of years ago, I had a man come out here with like 5 little kids, and he lived down in the main line, like Norberth. I mean, you're talking about really, really expensive homes and per capita household income of about $200,000 a year. And the guy drove all the way here because that's technically, I think that's technically Philadelphia. They couldn't find a tree. And I said to the guy, why couldn't you guys find a tree? He said, we do everything by committee. Oh my God. What committee can agree on everything? Having 5 kids that are in elementary school all agree on a tree, it'd be like taking 5 little boys to the toy store. Do you think 5 little boys are all going to agree on the same toy? Unless it was like some new Transformer toy or Power Rangers toy that came out in the 80s or 90s. Because I don't even know what kind of toys kids are playing with right now. Okay, I've overstayed my welcome in everybody's house. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope it wasn't too boring. Until next time, have a good night.